We live in this world that is just constantly screaming for our attention. Every single moment feels like it could be, or maybe should be, a post. But what about the people who just choose silence? Today, we're going to dive into the really fascinating psychology of those who consciously decide to opt out of the social media broadcast.
So, let's talk about these social media ghosts. Who are they, really? Or maybe the better question is, who do we think they are? Seriously, think about it for a second. In your group of friends, your family, your work, there's gotta be at least one person, right? They have a profile, sure, but they never ever post. What's the first thing that pops into your head when you think about them?
Well, a lot of the time, our assumptions are completely backwards. We might jump to the conclusion that they're shy or maybe a little paranoid. Maybe they even have something to hide. But the research, it points to something totally different. These are people who often score way higher on things like introspection and emotional independence. It's not that they're afraid of being seen, they're just really skeptical of what being seen has turned into.
And you know what? That skepticism gets right to the heart of the whole issue. This quiet, creeping transformation of our personal lives into public content.
I mean, the original promise was amazing, right? Genuine connection with people all over the world. But for so many, the reality has become this constant low-level performance anxiety. It feels less about being part of a real community and more about curating a personal brand. And this brings up a really crucial trade-off. Psychologists have a name for it: psychological ownership. It's that deep, powerful feeling that a moment, a memory is yours. It belongs to you and only you. But the second you post it, you're not just sharing it, you're kind of giving a little piece of it away. You're watering down that personal sense of ownership. Just think about that. The moment you pick a filter, write a caption, and hit post, that experience changes. Your private joy is suddenly up for public commentary. Your private pain could become someone else's entertainment. In a very, very real way, it stops being your moment. So this constant need to perform, it's not just some random habit. It's actually fueled by a really powerful psychological loop, one that's basically designed to keep us coming back for more.
Okay, so here's how the cycle works. It's pretty simple. First, you craft that perfect post. Then, you wait. You know that feeling, kinda anxiously waiting for the reaction. And then, bam, the likes and comments start rolling in. That's your validation, and it gives you a literal hit of dopamine, a pleasure chemical in your brain. And, well, just like with anything that feels good, that hit makes you crave more.
So how do people break out of this loop? Well, they often have something called an internal locus of control. It's this incredibly powerful mindset where your self-worth, your happiness, it all comes from the inside. You just don't need that external validation because you're already your own main source of approval.
And when you put them side by side, the difference is just stark. With an internal locus, what motivates you is your own personal fulfillment. You judge an experience by the impact it had on you. Your core belief is simple: I am happy. But with an external locus, it's all about public validation. An experience is judged by how shareable it is. The core belief becomes, I need other people to confirm that I am happy.
And all of this, it all builds up to one of the biggest, strangest ironies of our digital lives, what you could call the connection paradox. Researchers actually have a term for the specific kind of stress this causes. It's called self-presentational pressure. You know that feeling? Like you're always on stage, constantly aware that people are watching and judging you? For some people, the emotional price of that pressure is just way too high. It's wild, isn't it? These tools were literally built to connect us. But the performance, the pressure, it can end up doing the exact opposite, pushing us further apart and making us feel more alone than ever, even when we're surrounded by thousands of followers. You know, when you stop posting, it's like you're running this fascinating little social experiment on your own life. You start to see who reaches out because they genuinely care about you and who is really just interacting with your content. It becomes this amazing filter for what's real. Okay, so if that's the cycle, what's the alternative? What's the way out? Well, it all comes down to this final and maybe most important idea: the incredible power of just being present. And look, the rewards for being quietly present, they aren't just some vague philosophical ideas. They're real and they're measurable. Studies show people who take a step back actually report greater emotional stability and more satisfaction with their lives. Their sense of who they are becomes more solid because it's not being bounced off the distorted mirror of likes and comments. They just start living life as it actually is: messy, complicated, and unfiltered.
And this might be the most profound takeaway from all of this.
In a world that screams that being visible means you're valuable, these people are teaching us a totally different lesson. They get it. They know that choosing privacy isn't the same as choosing to be lonely, and that a quiet life is not an empty one.
So in the end, this choice, it's not about withdrawing from the world at all. It's about choosing to be more fully in it. It's about experiencing your life without needing to document it, without needing applause. It's about rediscovering how incredibly rich a life can be when it's lived for an audience of one.